So I saw this story I wanted to cover from Reddit. It's the title of it is "Women Keep Using Me as a Fake Boyfriend." And I feel like this is a situation I went through in my high school and college days where I would get women to like me just enough to want to be my friend and do things like, go one-on-one to dinners and to movies. And I had one friend one time, I kid you not, take me to a nipple piercing shop to watch her get her nipple pierced. And despite all these things, yet, if I tried to move into a physical realm or a dating realm, it'd be like, whoa, wait, what are you doing? I thought we were just friends. And so I understand where this guy's coming from, and I want to kind of go through the situation and stop on a few points here and there. So he goes, I have a problem where women feel extremely comfortable with me to the point that they'll treat me like a boyfriend even though they know I am straight. This ranges from pretty normal situations like venting to me about problems in their lives and looking for validation, which I'm happy to do, to holding my hands, touching my thighs, and making sexual jokes with me. Now, I'll say this for right now. I understand why this guy has this viewpoint, because for men, we're not going to do that we're only going to try to do that thing oftentimes with women that we're trying to get with. And we don't understand that for women can act this way with both guys that are just friends of theirs, guys that they're in relationships with, and more importantly, with other female friends. So yes, female friends will also hold hands, they'll hug, they'll smooch each other on the cheeks sometimes, they'll touch each other in weird places, and they'll make sexual jokes all day. The problem with men is we think because women are doing this, then it means that they must like us also, and then we start thinking that must be what it is. But the reality is, if you started off your situation with a woman where you led it to the friend zone, her viewpoint of you is now in the friend zone. So to her, any action she does with you is gonna read as okay within the realms of the friendship, because both you and her know that you're just friends, nothing more, according to how she's thinking about it. But meanwhile, you're thinking, okay, we're friends, but wait, she's now doing these other things that I would only do with somebody that I'm interested in. Therefore, she must be building interest as well. And in some cases, those signs could be indicative of her building a like for you. But if it's been a long-time friendship, then that's probably not the case, and you need to do other things to explore that further. But anyway, he says, I've had situations where a woman will start cuddling with me while we watch TV shows together, holding my hand and letting me put my hand on their thighs. They will take naps in my bed with me or have me take naps with them. When inevitably this leads to feelings from my side, women act surprised that would happen. Well, I already said the first part about women can do that stuff and not be a thing. But also, here's what I find too, is that because I talked a lot about how, like, for example, my introvert dating success program takes you through the linear pathway of going from meeting her, to greeting her, to attracting her, to getting her on a date, to then escalating, to then getting a hookup, to then all these other things, right? So, but in my program, if you go through the website, you notice there is a linear process that has to happen, and there has to be a buildup that occurs in order for a woman to start realizing that she wants to be with you and that her interest is building bit by bit. The problem that men have is when they try to get with their women friends is they think because you're thinking because you've been friends with her for so long that you can just go ahead and jump from the friendship step to the relationship step, no problem, because you've already developed an emotional connection. You've already, spent time together. And so you're thinking there's no need for those steps. There's always need for those steps. Don't believe it's like in those TV shows you see where the man and the woman have been friends since childhood, and all of a sudden he comes to her one day and says, hey, I think I love you. And then she goes from like just being his friend to being like, oh my God, I realize I love him too. That's not how that works. What's gonna actually happen is that she's gonna need to now reassess the whole way she's thought about you now that you're trying to put it in a different direction, which means she needs to also go through the process of being asked on a date, being able to go out and see you in that new light, have you try to make moves on each other. And so you can't just go from like, I'm a friend to like, I wanna be in a relationship. Because in your head, you've been building up to this point where you like her and wanna be with her, and she's had no clue this entire time. And you may be thinking, but she's been throwing out signals. She didn't know that the signals she was throwing out, that you were reading them as, these are things that indicate she likes me. She was thinking, I do this, I hold hands with my female friends, I hug my female friends, like, so he's just like a female friend to me, almost like it's no big deal. So you can't cut out those steps. You have to go through the same steps you would go through with a woman you just met for the first time with a female friend who up to this point has not even considered you to be in her relationship plane, all right? So anyway, he says, it's getting to the point where I think I need to start explicitly telling people that if they flirt with me, they need to do it with the intention of actually flirting with me. I had a recent friend who's taken to being my plus one to a lot of events and hanging out on to my arm when we go out. She called a concert we went to with other friends as well, our quote, first date. I recently brought this up with her when I asked if we could talk in my car during a party, and she joked that we should tell people she gave me a handy in the car when we return. I had to ask her if she really means these things or if they were just still jokes. And she asked me, quote, what if I did actually like you? I told her I would be open to dating, but it had to be with mutual interest. And she said that I was not her type, and she was sorry she may have overstepped some boundaries. A couple of weeks ago, she had jokingly suggested I buy her a solo toy for her to use on herself, which she linked to me for her birthday. And when I followed through, she joked that she would be thinking of me every time she used it. So here's the thing, right? This woman, we could say, hey, this woman's playing with his head, whatever. But this is how a lot of women will start out, where it's like they're being playful with words, they're saying things and they're doing things and they're giving these innuendos. And she's hoping that the guy she's saying this to is gonna also be playful and jokey. And in keeping that light mood, it could eventually lead to something. Because right now, let's say she doesn't currently, like she said, that he was not her type, right? But that's because he brought it to her in a tone that was very serious and that was very almost demanding, like, well, if you're gonna do this with me, if you're gonna flirt with me, then I need to know there's mutual interest and we gotta make this a thing and blah, blah, blah. So now he took it from like, she is being jokey to too serious. So at that point, yeah, now she has to backpedal because now it feels off. Versus if she kept it playful and he was able to know how to flirt to where he could flirt back in a vibrant, flirty, but also sexual way, then, because I tell you all the time, women live in the land of maybe, where it's like, she may be willing to do something or not, but it depends on what the guy does. So if, let's say, for example, they go to their car, he's trying to have a serious conversation, right? But let's say he pulled out, hey, let's go to the car real quick. I got to talk to you about something. And then you go there and just make up some funny, silly joke. She's like, oh, you silly guy. You're just trying to blah, 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 blah. That could lead to like, now they're having playful banter. Now they're alone in the car together. He starts touching her. She's like, stop it. Like, girl, you know you want to do blah, 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 blah. Or like, okay, you touch me then. Or like they could be touching each other. The point is that it becomes a playful thing versus a serious thing. So even though she may not have intended for him to be her type, the reality is women fall for guys all the time that initially weren't their type, but the reason that those guys are winning those girls is because the guy's not harping on the fact that he may not be her type. If anything, he's thinking, well, she might not think I'm her type now, but spend a little bit of time together, we can make this work out. And that's not gonna be every situation. So I'm not trying to press you guys, be like, oh, she said I'm not type, this, I should go after her nonetheless, because that's what Harry said. No, what I'm saying is that because women often live in a fluid state and that a lot of times their attraction is built on how a guy's making them feel, then even though you might not be her height, her weight, whatever, you making her feel certain things could make the mood shift. But especially if you're moving in the world as a confident guy who's able to be jokey, who's able to be flirty, and most importantly, is not taking relationships so seriously, then they'll be open to changing their mind. But at the point that you start trying to call them out on stuff or saying, well, if you flirt with me, then this and that, now you're putting it on like, if you flirt with me, you have to be with me. And women don't like to feel like a guy is trying to force them into liking them or being in a relationship with them. So you lose when you be this serious. And again, I'm saying this based on the fact that I was a guy that used to feel this same way. Oh, she wants to go to movies with me and she's doing this, she's playing games, and she doesn't want to be with me, but she's letting me do X, Y, and Z, but then we can't get to the final step. Once I got a little bit looser and a lot less, honestly, controlling about what things had to be in order for things to work out and stop, but whatever, then I was able to hook up with women that I had no idea I'd ever be able to hook up with because I wasn't stressing them out about how it was. And I wasn't making it less fun by trying to be super serious. The more serious you are, guys, you take the fun out of it for women, and it results in you being able to still hang out with them, but not in a relationship capacity. And as a guy, as I said before, you should not be chasing a relationship. That is their job. Your job is to bring fun to the table, to bring hookups to the table, to have like fun, vibrant interactions, and to make sure that you're keeping them happy when you're doing these things. You getting super serious, especially super serious before you've even gone on a date with her. Like, have you even asked her on a date? You have not. So in effect, this is ultimately what ends up happening is you end up feeling like you're being used as the fake boyfriend, but the reality is you started off the friendship the wrong way because this is my thing too, is that as a guy, most of the women that you're meeting, you shouldn't be trying to be friends with. Like, I know women will have a, conniption about, oh, men and women can't be friends. That's so totally not true. As a guy, you know that inevitably with your female friendships, you probably want to get with them at some point in time. Or even if you don't, that's also totally fine, but there's still gonna be at times like that connection there. It's like, but things could pop off at any moment. So when you're meeting these women for future references, you should be going in thinking if there's any chance that you will be possibly attracted to them, that you need to go that route first and explore that route, because it's easier to try to initially date them to see what's what and then realize, okay, this isn't going beyond just a friendship and then go into friendship mode then, versus I'm gonna go the friendship route and then hope that maybe down the line, if she likes me, we can date. And to women, that'll feel like a lie, because the whole time they'll be thinking, he was trying to get to know me as a friend, but really he wanted to date me this whole time. Like, that feels like an ick thing, and that's not fair to them. Anyway, he says, I'm getting to the point where I need to start asking people immediately when they flirt with me if they're actually flirting with me. I'm starting to feel crazy with people treating flirting with me like a game. A woman I was spending time with nearly every week, going to bars, coffee shops, and musicals together, was offended that I developed feelings for her, as if it was totally out of left field that something like that would happen. Well, again, to her, it is, because as far as she knew, it was going down the road of friendship. So you blindsided her when you suddenly liked her, because all the things you're seeing as signals that indicate that she likes you, she's just seeing as being a nice person, being a friendly woman, doing something that she would do with her other gay friends or her female friends. It's not different, especially because you didn't point it in that direction. This goes back to self-responsibility. It is your job as the guy to point the direction of where you want this interaction to go with her. If you're thinking you might want to be romantic with her, you got to start off with getting the number and asking for dates. If you don't do that, you're leading it towards a friendship, and she's gonna be mad later because you're the one that led it towards friendship. He says, I'm fine with people not liking me back, but I don't want to be treated like I'm crazy when people engage in datey and coupley behavior and expect me to just handle it like I'm just chilling with the boys. I've already expressed this again. They're thinking that you're the one taking in the friendship direction. They do that with their other friends all the time. So to women, it's no different. If you're not, this is why I tell you guys also, when you meet a woman and you want to hang out with her, you don't call it a hangout. You say, hey, I want to take you on a date. I want to go to a dinner date with you, a movie date with you. You use the word date. And I learned this in college when I was I've told you guys about when I started asking female friends of mine, like, hey, I want to do practice dates because I need more practice trying to get into the groove of how a date works. But I would say, I want to take you on a practice date. They knew it was a date. Even if it was just in the guise of friendship, they knew that this had the capacity to have romantic levels because I'm calling it a date. And women are going to follow your lead on this. If you call it a date and they say yes, then that means that they understand what the consequences could be if they're agreeing with you to go on a date. But the fact that they're knowing those consequences and are wanting to go means that they're open with exploring what that could possibly look like with you. If you're not doing that and just saying, let's just hang out, blah, 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 then when you get to where you want to try to, confess your feelings to her, say you like her, she's going to be like, but we haven't gone on any dates. And you're thinking, but we have. No, you went on hangouts in her head because that's what you called them, So then he says, it's led me to start questioning whether any woman is actually interested in me, and it feels like that limits my ability to romantically connect with people, but it's wearing away at my sanity. So ultimately, guy, that's what you do, is that you have to start calling things what they are. You got to call them dates. When you meet women for the first time, if you think they're cute and attractive and that you could have something after one conversation, you lead it into, hey, this is really great. Let me get your number. Call them later for a date. It really is that simple. That'll keep you out of the realm of being used as the fake boyfriend. But also, if you have women in your life that you realize you're starting to like, and they're still trying to treat you as a fake boyfriend after you've maybe expressed that to them or whatever, then you have to learn to say no to those things. And as a guy, it can be hard because you're thinking, but I have female friends, I don't want them to hurt me. Here's the reality. If you have a crush on a female friend, you already know that every time you see her and have to hear about her dating other guys or her guy troubles, or you're getting all cuddly, but you're not able to get it to go anywhere, it's going to frustrate you. And that's going to happen across the board for every female friend that you think you continue to be friends with, even if you like them. So I'm not in the habit of trying to keep around female friends that I would actually date, You have to be mindful of that. If you would legitimately want to date them, and you've expressed, hey, I want to take you on a date, and they've said, oh, I'm not interested in that, then at that point, you have a decision to make, which is, do you continue the friendship, in which case you cannot complain about that or ask them out anymore? Or do you say realistically, I need to now lessen my time with this person because I know what I want from them in terms of a relationship situation, and this is not it. And as a guy, that's totally fine. You can totally say, hey, you know what? I think I see myself really wanting to lead this towards more of a relationship thing, and you're not seemingly interested in that. So for now, I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna just pull back. And hey, the female friend will get frustrated at you, but in the long run, it's better for your relationship health because you know what you want. And if you know you're gonna be frustrated around that female friend, it's better for you to take yourself out of that situation than to stay in it just because it'll make her happy, but it's making you miserable the entire time.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man.